Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Layer Explorer where I get to invite my favorite artists and watch them unpeel their Photoshop files while I ask them questions about their processes, about their design decisions, about the way they look at their artwork in general. Today with us we have Ola Kolendo. She's an old friend of mine. We met in my first year of university. Me, her, and Barnaby used to be like a trio, so this is like I get to kind of close the triangle with this episode. It's also episode number 20, which, wow, kind of crazy. It's been 20 episodes already. It's been like a very long ride. This episode is also special because I feel like there's this thing that Ola does that I also do with my work. So I saw myself alone in that, and I think a lot of artists do it too, which is you watch something that you really like, or you, in the case of Ola, she really liked the dress of this character, and her way of kind of creatively digest that was by drawing dress herself, or drawing a cool pose of the character wearing that dress, or rendering the dress in a way that she thought would kind of let it out for her. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and yeah, have fun. Ola Kolendo. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Layer Explorer, the show where I get to invite my favorite artists and interview them while they dig through their layers and talk about their techniques and their processes and how they go about their paintings. Today with us, we have Ola Kolendo, a good friend of mine, dating back to AUB times, like one of the OGs with like Barnaby and Joe, who were like the first two people in this podcast. We're doing a character design episode today, which I think is going to become more and more common throughout the Layer Explorer, but like it's much more challenging for me because like I'm definitely more confident on the background front. So I'm very excited for this episode. Do you want to present yourself?
Yeah. Hello, I'm Ola. Really excited to be part of the podcast. And yeah, I guess it's a character design episode, but I was going to say that I probably consider this more like illustration rather than character design, just because like I'm not really a character designer, but in my spare time, I just love drawing like loads of fun art and like loads of pretty gals and pretty dresses, like lots of color lighting, like very painterly. So I'm not necessarily a character designer, but it's kind of like a mix of like illustration and character design. So
I see. And what's the context for? Is this like a fan art of something that already exists, or is this like an original character?
Yeah, it's from Poor Things, the film that came out, I guess it's like a year and a half ago with Stone. Yeah, I just loved all the dresses that she was wearing. So it's really funny because I watched the film, sketched this like immediately, and then it took me quite a while to finish it just because I didn't have too much time. But yeah, I get super inspired by all these kind of like outfits, like Crimson Peak, Poor Things, like anything kind of puffy sleeves. I just like immediately want to draw it. So
when you watch like, let's say like a live action or even animation, it's like the dresses are like the trigger to be like, okay, you know what? I really want to explore this character. I really want to draw this dress. I really want to draw this outfit. And then you come up with a pose to fit the dress.
Yeah, I feel like I said, because I'm not super into character design, it's more like I love drawing like fabric. I love painting the lighting and stuff. And I really love drawing like very delicate like faces and stuff. So it's not like I have loads of fun like exploring character shapes and stuff. It's more about like the feeling and the colors and just making it look super pretty. Normally I get super excited about films and TV shows. So normally that excitement like manifests itself in like drawing fun art because I won't have loads of time, but I'll just be like, oh my God, I love that. Like, I really want to draw it. And then if I have time, like I'll do it sort of thing.
Yeah, I see myself in that a lot. There's something about like, I really love this video game and I kind of want to draw a painting of it. So I want to draw like a character or a pose or like a cool action scene of this. And it helps the process of like digesting how much I love this show or this video game.
Yeah.
Or
stuff
like
grieving,
that.
Like when you finish the show and you're just like, I don't want to end. I'll just keep drawing it.
Yeah, as a process of grieving. Yeah, like that's a good one. Yeah. So should we start with the layers?
Yes, let's go.
Let's do this. So how do you go about a character like this? Like how does it all start?
Okay, so it starts. So I feel like I picked this illustration in particular because I did quite a lot of sketches for it. I feel like normally I have quite a clear idea of what I'm going to do, or like I have a reference that I like and I'll be like, oh, if I did like this pose with this character I'm thinking of, like that would be really good. But I think for this one for some reason, I just had loads of ideas and I couldn't decide which one I wanted. So I just did loads of sketches. And, you know, just because of the dress and the hair, like, I feel like there's so many interesting ways you can show it. Like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to show the hair from the back, but then she also has this really puffy sleeves, so I wanted to like show them as well. And then I think I showed a few of these to my friends, and like everyone voted which ones they liked. So everyone liked this one. I think I wanted to do number 3. I don't know why. I think she has a pose like this in the film, and even though it kind of doesn't make sense, I was like, oh, maybe number 1, something like this. She's like depressed, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun to draw, but this is a bit more clearer. So I went for number 4. And this would be like, like I usually will ask my friends like what they think or whatever, and then get some feedback. Cause
do you usually do that in your processes? Is that something that like every time you draw a character, like you do like a friend's pass and then you go back to production?
Yeah. I mean, not in like a strict way. It's just that we will, like, me, Gilbert, Joe, and Jack have like a group chat. So sometimes like if I'm not sure about something, I'll send it over. And like, again, because I guess I really like drawing the characters, but it's not like I'm just like this amazing character design. So sometimes I'll be like, what do you think about the anatomy, or what do you think about the pose? Like, I'm not sure this is correct. Like, I'm still not like, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm not confident, but it's not like I always know what I'm doing and like, oh, I know exactly this is how it works. So it's not like I'm like, oh, time for a friend pass, but I will definitely send it over and be like, okay, guys, which one? Because like, I want to move on. Like, what's everyone think? And,
nice.
You know, like, if they respond, then I'll probably like take it on board and stuff.
Quite a lot of iterations you did. It's like you did like 8 different designs before you made the decision to go forward. Like, is 8 right? Yeah, it is 8.
Yeah, I think it's
is that something, do you do a lot of like character, like especially when you're doing character illustrations, is like you do go forward with like iterations? Okay, try this pose, try this pose, try this pose until you get there. Is that something like quite usual?
Yeah, I feel like I don't force myself to do lots of iterations. Like, if it works the first time, I'll just go with it.
Okay.
Like a couple illustrations that I've done, if like I knew what I want the pose to be, or I had like a specific reference that I really like, then I'll just do that, and then I'll just work on like making that look correct. But I think with this one, just because like there's so many shots in the film where she looks like incredible, I was like, oh, which moment do I want to reference the most? Or like I'll show in a minute, but I have some like references of the colors. But there were so many moments in the film that I loved, and I was like, oh, I'm probably not gonna have time to draw all of them. Which one do I want? So I think in this particular case, I was exploring it a lot, because in my head I had like different moments from the film, or like, oh, I could do this one in this lighting, or if I did this one, the colors would be like this. But I'm not like forcing myself to do loads of sketches if I don't think it's necessary.
I see. Okay.
I'm not like, I'm going to do 8 versions and then I'll pick one. Like, if 2 versions and one of them works, I'll just stop at that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then so I had like I think these layers are a little bit messy just because I work like quite neatly. So normally when I do a sketch, like, it's almost always like the final lines, but I clearly like, you know, I made the sketch bigger here. And then I guess like the brush was like a bit distorted, so I think I was just like working into it. So I'm not 100% sure what the layers are like here. I think it's just stuff that was like helping me figure stuff out. But then I have like what I do is like I would draw the sketch and then I'll put it like on top of everything and put it on multiply, which is why like the final sketch isn't in this folder, because I moved it at the end. So this is just like me figuring stuff out, but I think I probably didn't spend too long on this, and I guess it would have been something like this before I just moved on to doing color.
Right.
So yeah, I think I had like a rougher version, and then I guess I turned it off, and then I had like a more clean version, and that was kind of like enough for me to make a starting point. So I went from like the really kind of really sketchy thing to like kind of clean, and I think for me, I was like, okay, I have the shape, and then I just go with the color, so I don't need to be like fully in detail.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess the layers are a bit jumbled up, but usually I'll do like kind of a clean sketch, and then I'll go into it, and then I always do like a color pass.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Also, I was gonna say, like, I find drawing fun, but the painting is what I like the most. So with this sketch, that's why, like, maybe, like, I'm not figuring out things for a long time, because I'm just like, oh, I just can't wait to get to the painting. The lines are, like, super thin, and I just use, like, a pencil brush that I like. And then, yeah, like here I was like figuring out the face.
Cool.
So I kind of will like maybe tackle something separately. Like I'll get like the right pose. And then when it comes to like the rendering, I'll be like, okay, I need to like draw her face properly now because I want it to be neat. So that's something that I'll do kind of like eventually.
Cool.
So yeah, and then I have like the color thumbnail. So I guess this was like the first one. And then I think I did like I think I just put some color balance on top, or I just like played around with a bit more to like match what I wanted. And yeah, like even though this is super rough, I really liked kind of like the semi-transparent stripes. So that was something that I was like, oh, I'm going to bring that into the final illustration. And also just to show you, this were like my reference images. This was like my favorite dress from the movie. And yeah, like you can see it's like transparent, but then it has these like more opaque white stripes over the top.
Yeah.
And I just love that. So
very cool. So you kind of brought like the patterns or the feeling that you got from this dress, but you kind of applied your own style or your own kind of simplification of it for the draft of the illustration. Okay, super cool.
Yeah, because I knew that I probably wouldn't have time to make it like super intricate. And also like I feel like in the past I've struggled with like making my work really neat and like really perfect, and now I'm trying to like get away from that. And that's why I'm like using this crayon brush, because I feel like it gives like a really nice texture, but even if you're a bit rough with it or like you make some sort of mistakes, like it still looks good.
Right.
So like I was kind of doing that to help me make something like more rough. Like I'll look at like examples of work that I really like that are like really rough and the crayon texture is like very rough, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And then when I do my version of it, it still ends up being super neat. And I'm like, well, no, this was meant to be messy. Like, but obviously just end up doing it the way I do it. So I guess like at the time I was really into trying to make my work like a bit rougher, which is why I was like, oh, the color thumbnail was like, it doesn't have like every fold of the dress and stuff. It's kind of suggestive, like with the colors, like they suggest the folds, even though it's not like 100% accurate, or like it's not like the dress is drawn like a really realistic way.
Yeah.
So the reason I did it that way is because at the time I was like, oh, I want to make this like a bit more rough, a bit more quicker, and just like see if I can make it look good without spending loads of time on like each part.
Nah, cool, very cool. And at this point of the process, we have finished sketch, we have 2 color thumbnails with this variation. I mean, I guess we also have reference gathering with these 2 photos and stuff, but like how long would you say this take you? So this took you up to this point?
Maybe like an evening.
Okay.
I wonder if I can check on my iPad. Like, by the way, I did all this on Procreate because I really struggle to do personal work on Photoshop. Because like when I'm working, like I would consider myself like extremely Photoshop efficient or proficient. Like I know my way around Photoshop, but I feel like when I do my personal work, something clicks in my brain and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, where's my crayon brush from Procreate? Like, I don't know how to draw.
That's so funny. Okay, I didn't even know you use Procreate. Okay, because I'm looking at the Photoshop players. I just assumed that you did it on Photoshop, but you probably just exported the file into like, okay.
Yeah, and I can get into it later, but I always finish in Photoshop anyway, because there's just some things you can't do in Procreate. So there's always like a few effects or something that I'll add in Photoshop. Like I always bring into Photoshop at the end just to like, you know, if I'm doing adjustment layers or stuff. If I'm doing like a big portfolio piece, like yes, I'll do it in Photoshop. But if I'm doing something for fun like this, like I'll always do it in Procreate. I guess it took me 18 hours. Unless it's like tracking the time that I open the app every time. It says total strokes made 26,000. Crazy,
okay.
Then I get into like the rendering.
Cool.
So
how did it all start?
Let's go layer by layer. So normally what I do is I'll have like the sketch on, the one that we saw earlier, and then I'll just using my favorite Procreate 6B pencil brush.
Can you zoom in a little bit so we can see a little bit of that texture?
Yeah, and I guess like I have it on color dynamics as well, because I love color dynamics.
Nice.
But yeah, so normally what I do is like I'll do the outline with the pencil brush and then just kind of like fill it in and try and leave some gaps. And I really like this kind of stuff, and
cool.
I feel like that's been a lot more prominent in my style in like the last couple years. So this is kind of like how I work even now, even though these days, like I work on very little layers. Like sometimes like I don't even add lighting layers. I'll just like paint into whatever I'm drawing. But I feel like this piece is like very reminiscent of like how I worked like even before I was using the crayon brush and how I'm working now. It's kind of like a good like overall show of my process.
So those white bits in the middle, so I'm basically seeing the white kind of background behind, or did you paint these kind of white textures after?
No, I just like use the crayon brush and I just leave some bits out. Like when you use it because it's textured, it just like naturally leaves this like some of the, and then like I'll fill some of it in if like I think it's too much. But I thought that this was like a good amount of like the white coming through.
Yeah.
So and then usually I'll pick like just like a random color, you know, like yellow, orange, red, something like funky and different than like what the colors are going to be. But to be honest, not that much of it shows through. Like I like when it shows through a bit, but it's the purpose of it is not like it doesn't really matter. And then I just go into like the rendering. So if I'm like unsure about things, I'll split them into separate layers just so I can like go back. So here I'm working on the face, which looks kind of morbid right now.
Yeah.
This is all based on the reference. So yeah, so I'm just like painting the face in, then I've put the dress in, and this is all based on like the color thumbnail that I did earlier.
Wow. So this dress is like one layer, like all of these kind of subtle variations. You did this all as just one layer in normal.
Yeah, and I'm literally just color picking from the color thumbnail. And like, yeah, because I do the color thumbnail really rough and I think like it looks good, then when I do the final bit, like I tend to, yeah, like try to neaten it up and stuff. So I'm trying in general to like follow the shapes of my color thumbnail because that was kind of done like more without thinking. So I want to like keep that even if it doesn't look perfect or it doesn't like necessarily like evoke like the folds in the dress and stuff. I think I just liked it. So I was trying not to like over render it. I added a bit more like of that crayon texture that I like with just like a couple squiggles and some more like variety and stuff.
Nice.
Not much, but just like
I definitely see that orange like peeking through. Like it adds a lot of texture. Very nice.
Yeah. And yeah, like this drawing is like part of like a free illustration that I wanted to do of like girls in like puffy dresses, and then like you can totally tell the next one I did is like way more rendered than this. So I really didn't manage to stay really messy, but I think this one like worked really well. And then I started adding the stripes in. So this is another layer that I have, but I marked it orange because it's not in the final file.
Yeah.
So I guess I was just like playing around with it.
Cool.
And yeah, so I drew them in, and then I guess this is all the same layer, and then I just applied like different masks to make it kind of
cool. Okay.
This bit is like the closest, right? So it's like the most vibrant in here. Yeah, I guess it doesn't make like complete logical sense, but you know, this is obviously too much. So I just
very nice. And the fact that it kind of reveals a shape, but it's also very organic. Like these lines are like very irregular. So it becomes like a texture, but it also, there's a certain three-dimensionality about these lines that like, okay, I can definitely see the volume of like this puffy.
Yeah. I think it came out quite well considering it's not like, like 100% accurate and stuff. Like I feel like you can get the idea, which is kind of what I really wanted to like get across in this particular illustration. And then then I've got the hair, which like you can see like the blue highlight from here. I think I didn't add it at first, and then when I did it I was like, oh, this looks sick, and it's all just from looking at the photo.
Nice.
So the reference is super useful. And then I go in with all the face stuff. So this stuff I do on separate layers just because it's such like tiny detail, and like I feel like everything else is messy, but I want the face to look good because that's what everyone's going to be looking. So it can't be like ugly. Like it has to look good. So that's why I separated, because I'm like, oh, if I'm not happy with it, I don't want to redraw the whole thing. Like, you know, if the eyes work well.
I guess like the lowest layer is like the white part of the eyes. But I imagine you probably started with the lines and then you added the whites and then the blues, or what's the order of like the details of like, how did you draw these details, or what's the order for it?
So I think at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if like I was doing the sketch and then I couldn't get the face right. And I was like, oh, whatever. Like, I'm just going to paint it because I can't be bothered. And then probably when I got to this part, I redid the sketch. Knowing me. So let me just see if I have, this one. So I probably would have like drawn this at this point. Yeah. So I think I would have like drawn this and then I would have just like traced over it. Well, this might not be the only layer. Maybe there was another one to go over it of like the eyelashes and the lips and stuff.
Okay.
Essentially, like I would sketch it like in more detail. And then I guess I'm just like literally tracing over it with all this stuff. So you can tell it like matches.
Yeah.
Quite well. So that was probably the process there.
Yeah.
And now it's all the fun part, which is the lighting from the reference. So I think at first I started with like a classic blue multiply. And then even with these ones, like I'm trying to add some variation and stuff just so it's not like super uniform. And like, I think especially on the face, I was adding some like more like, you could call it ambient occlusion because it's like a brown shadow, right? So it's like, it's not being affected by the light as much.
Yeah.
But then I thought this was probably a bit too, I guess I didn't think it matched the reference. And I thought maybe it was too much of like a classic blue shadow from the sky or whatever. So I went for like a more kind of the blue that I'm seeing like in her dress in the reference. It's kind of like very greeny, bluey.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it looks like maybe I even just adjusted this with like a color slider because it has the same kind of variation that the other layer has. So I probably did that and then like adjusted it and then I just kept the layer underneath just in case because maybe I wasn't sure about the color. And then, this is what I do in all my illustrations is like I always put the sketch over the top on like a multiply. I think this is something I learned from Perno Orum. I don't know if she's Norwegian, but I think she is. I got like one of her Kickstarter books and she talks about her process. And then she says that she brings her sketch on like a multiply. And I was like, oh, that's really cool because like sometimes when you do the line art, like you lose so much of the character from the sketch.
Yeah.
And because I love doing line art and stuff, like all my eyes are always so delicate and I do like it, but sometimes like it does lose like how good somehow like the really thick lines that are all overlaid with each other, like actually make the perfect image. And then when you try to isolate just one line, it just doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
So I normally put the sketches on top just to like add a bit more. I don't know. I guess it brings out like some of the detail that gets lost when you're just doing like a lineless drawing.
Yeah. And it brings a sense of texture too as well, a little bit.
Yeah. So I put that there and it's on multiply 25%. So
cool.
Especially with the faces, like I think it really helps with the face because like makes her eyes look more in because it has just like all these black lines around and stuff.
Right.
But I don't know. I just feel like it helps even though I basically copied the sketch anyway. But
super. Yeah.
Then we get into the lighting. So it's like super rough, like a bit of soft brush. And then I just did some like shapes, kind of just like a bit of remnant on the dress. And he was just like following some folds and stuff. But I really didn't overthink it. I mean, like here, like you can see that the light is like, you can see it through the translucent sleeve, which is what I really liked. So I guess I kind of tried to do something like this here and make it seem like the light is maybe like coming through those stripes and stuff.
Very cool. And I like how like that diagonal bit on the light just under the shoulder, you kind of followed the line of the sketch because if it's on top of the sketch, I imagine like you did that sketch pass before you added this light. And then you have this diagonal little highlight that almost says like, okay, this is where the puffy bit ends and this is where the arm starts. By that's like those little folds, which is really nice. Yeah. So
yeah, I really like figuring out the shapes of things like that. Like when I do lighting on characters, like it's really fun playing around the shapes. Like you put a shape in, then you erase a little bit and then just try and get like cool lines and like here, like you could assume that like because it's her elbow, like maybe there's some like folds there and that's why the light is kind of like zigzagging and stuff.
Super cool. You also did that at the edge, at the end of the sleeve next to the hand, right? Like a little detail on the light. Yeah.
I'm saying all this. I'm sure I didn't think about it in that much depth at the time, or like consciously. And now I'm like, oh, do you see how this
Yeah,
follows?
but it's like that. That's technique. It's like it feels right. There's a reason why it feels right, is because you have a lot of experience doing the characters.
So, oh yeah, and then I add the outer glow. So this is one of the things that I like. I like doing in the Photoshop file afterwards, because on Procreate you have like a bloom option, so you can make it like shine, like glowy. But it doesn't really give you like the same control as Photoshop, because it kind of like overexposes like the shape and then adds the glow on the outside. It's a bit hard to explain, I guess, without looking at it. But so this is the kind of stuff that like I'll bring the file into Photoshop, and then like I'll be like, oh, the lighting layer, I want add a bit extra, so I'll add the outer glow. And obviously when you add a layer style in Photoshop, like you can turn it on and off. Whereas like with Bloom in Procreate, I would probably have to like duplicate the layer, so I have like the clean layer, and then when you add Bloom, it's not like an effect, it just like changes the layer. So if I do it, then I can't go back. So that's why like I bring it into Photoshop.
And where's the outer glow here? Is that
see?
Oh, it's like very subtle, like on the edges. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like doing that. So
Cool.
yeah, it just makes everything glowy. And even though like this layer is pinned to the, to the base shape that I did, like it kind of looks like it bleeds over, I guess, just because like the background's white. But yeah, so that's something that I do afterwards in Photoshop. And then I have the same on her face, and I added like a bit of glow as well. Because like, yeah, like, I mean, again, like I didn't even really think about it, but then the dress is white, so I guess it'll be like maybe illuminating the bottom of her face.
Cool.
But
cool.
it wasn't on purpose. I just really like this effect because it just makes everything a bit softer.
Yeah. And what's the blending mode on the face light? Is that color dodge overlay?
Linear dodge and linear dodge.
Linear dodge. Okay, I never used that one.
I heard that on Jack's episode, that you were like not a fan of linear dodge.
No, I maybe I've been living a lie, and I should be using linear dodge like this whole time. But I used to use only color dodge, but then I felt it was a little bit extreme, so I only use it for like neon lights now. But I use mostly overlay for like light.
Yeah, I feel like at uni I was like, oh, it makes everything look so pretty. But when we're working, like normally they ask us to only use screen, linear dodge, or color dodge, because those are the easiest ones. I think it's something to do with comp, like I think like, no, it's to do with merging. Like when you merge stuff, I think sometimes overlay, depending how you use it, like if you merge everything, you can like change the color.
Interesting.
I can't think of like a specific example, but like I just got into such a habit of using linear dodge because there have been 2 projects that I've been on where they say like, okay, well, when you merge the backgrounds, like it's okay if you use overlay and it's clipped onto something, but like in general, it's better to use like screen, linear dodge, and color dodge just because it's better for like merging and comp.
Interesting.
So, and then I've got a cheeky blue highlight.
Oh.
So cheeky. It's so tiny.
It's so cool though. It's like, I didn't know I missed this like layer, but like now it's there, I can't live without it. It's like the really nice transition between the shadow and the skin tone. Yeah.
And I guess it's all from, I could have gone harder on these blue highlights, to be honest. I feel like if it was now, I'd put them everywhere and I'd be like, oh, blue highlights, like when there's like blue and yellow lighting from like opposite sides. But I think this is like subtle. And then I have, a bit of blue from the other side. You can't, oh no, wait, this one I have turned off, but I have more here.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
But then this is a bit of blue coming from the other side. And then, it's just to like highlight this kind of shape that I guess I really liked in the sketch, like how it kind of unfolds here. Yeah. I do remember that when I put the file from Procreate to Photoshop, like all the linear dodge stuff like didn't look as bright as they did in Procreate. Like I think they have the layers work slightly different. And I think I've had a couple of times where I put it in Photoshop and I'm like, wait, this doesn't look exactly the same. So I do remember the blue lighting, I had to redo it. And then I think I put in overlay because I was like, oh, I think that's what works best to like match the files. I don't know if I was working the wrong color profile or something, but these days I make sure like when I work on Procreate that it's like the sRGB, because I've had a couple times where I work on like a display free something color profile.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you're just like, oh God.
I struggle with that, with like working in different screens, or like I'm gonna do an investment in buying a double screen, like an extra screen, and like I kind of just trust that like, okay, I'm working with this color. Hopefully when I export it is like good enough to be, but like I've been in some situations where I send it to someone else, or I work in a different computer, and when I export, I'm like, oh my God, this is totally different, and like does not match whatever the source is, and I have to go fix it again. But that's my weakness, is like I always just trust like, okay, I hope that this export is good. I don't know much about the color, kind of how to know what's the true color, that the color that I should be going for. You know, that's I don't have no idea.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is super, I don't know, I'm not a very technical person. Like I know Photoshop, but I know some people that like know Photoshop.
Yeah, exactly.
And know all these screen things and stuff. Like for me, I'm always assuming like if the colors work on one screen, like even if there's slightly different settings, it should still work. But I guess it depends. Like if you're working as a team and you have to make it look a specific way, then yeah. If the exponent is like too bright or way too saturated or something, you're like, oh, this did not look like that on my screen. Then I added some highlights on those stripes, which I love so much.
Nice.
Then I have some more highlights. So yeah, this is like the fun part right at the end of the painting, is like where you just get to make everything super shiny. So this is really like the last touches that I would normally be doing. I've got a bit of the blue glow from the back.
Nice.
Maybe if I was going a bit more ham, I would add like maybe like a blue line or like some blue rim line on like each fold of the dress. But I think I really was trying to, like keep it as like kind of abstract as possible. Like I really didn't want to overthink it.
Yeah.
So maybe now if I was doing the same thing, I would add a bit more detail to the skirt. Like maybe I would think this glow is not enough to kind of like make it like look super cool. But I think because the sleeves like look so cool, it's fine. And then, okay, and this is another one of my favorite parts. At the end of every drawing is just like adding all the little bits of hair that are like sticking out. And I think like even as my style maybe gets like more free or like more messy, like the stuff that still makes it really me is like all those little highlights at the end, and like the hair, like all the really like delicate line work is something that like I've been doing for years, and
I remember that nice from uni. Yeah,
it's nice to like include it even when I'm trying different things.
Can you zoom in and show this specific parts that you did on the face? So like, what did it look before? Okay, so you worked on the edges a little bit and added that hair. Yeah, super nice.
Yeah, and add the highlights to the eyes.
Yeah,
which I think I love doing this little triangular nose highlight. And I hate when I draw a character and then when I do the highlight, it doesn't work because maybe they're like facing too straight on or something. And I'm always like, damn it, like it doesn't look good. But like I love including it. So, and the same with like these highlights here. Like it works well here because she's got like the black hair around. And then I started adding some little strands of hair. This is that sketch.
Yeah.
And then this is
okay.
Again, like this blue bit is like coming like directly from the reference. Like the hair is going over her ear, so it's like facing wherever the light's coming from. And then I have a bit more, and then there was a cheeky group underneath, but it was definitely done afterwards, which is the bit of the hair at the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, and I remember I really struggled with the shape because at first I had the hair coming like in between her sleeves, like here. But then I thought it was like ruining like what I did with the sleeves and like the separation. And like I didn't really want to mess with that. And then I remember that Jack did like a draw over for me of like that shape because I was just like, oh, like I know the hair should fold that. Like it's weird if it just ends at her shoulder, but I just couldn't get it right. So these are the kind of moments where I'd be like sending it to Gilbert or Joe Mannion or
For the people that don't know here, Jack, the Jack in question is Jack Hurley. That was 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago. Yeah.
Yeah. The person.
And have you had Joe Mannion on the?
Joe Mannion was the first episode.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. At the first episode, I'm like so serious. I'm like, hello, so this is your painting. Okay, what's the next layer? Like you can really see the difference on like how much like this whole video series progressed. If you just look at like my episode with Joe Manion, which was like I was also the person with the layers, so I was sharing my screen and putting the layers, and then Joe kept asking me like, oh dude, can you go back please? Can you turn the light off please? Can you please go back? And I was like, okay, no, I think it's better if you guys have your own layers, and I'm here asking questions.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that episode because I think he did the ship with the spider legs.
Oh my god, that's true. You don't like spiders.
Yeah, and I remember Joe sending me that painting. I was like, why would you do that? Like, why would you send it to me? Like, I don't want to look at it. But I was, yeah, support him either way. But yeah, like, so yeah, I think this is basically almost done. And then what I do at the end. So sometimes what I like doing in Procreate is using the chromatic aberration, which is the one thing that is so much better to do in Procreate than in Photoshop. Because in Photoshop, you have to like copy the layer and then you go into like the layers and you tick off the R and the whatever, blah, blah, blah.
It's a lot.
But in Procreate, like you just do chromatic aberration and you just slide the pen and it will automatically like make the two sides. Yeah, it's so cool. And like sometimes it's like when I work in Photoshop and I'm like, okay, but I need to bring it back to Procreate because I just want the final image to have like a bit of a blur. And like I sometimes do it on like, or I did it in the past where when I used more line work, like I would use like a teeny tiny bit of chromatic aberration on the line work just to make it like a bit more blurry. So that's something that I'm sure there's a good way to do in Photoshop, but I just haven't been bothered to find out. But that's something that I like doing at the end of like some of my illustrations.
Yeah,
but
me too.
the thing that I love the most is a bit of noise.
A bit of noise. I love it.
Yeah, I love noise. And sometimes like there's definitely I've seen some paintings on my website that like if I go back to my website, I'll be like, oh my God, this has so much noise on it, like noise 20. And then I'm like, this isn't okay. And I have to like re-upload it to my website because I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So now it's like 4 or 5. This time I just use like the overlay. It's like gray on 50% like value, and then you put in an overlay and add the noise. But sometimes I'll just merge the whole file and then like use.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like I see loads of images that have that like crayon texture, and some of it is like, I don't know, maybe they use like a bigger brush, so like the texture is even more visible. Rather than here, it's like the gaps are kind of in between like the strokes of me doing this.
Yeah.
But that's something that I really like experimenting with. And then the very last layer is my little signature, which I've been doing since like 2009. So I guess I'm stuck with it forever. And it's just like A for my name and the year I've done it.
So cool.
I have that on all my illustrations, which is cool because I can look at something and be like, wow, 2008 or 2012 or 2015. Yeah,
that's it. That. We got to the end. It's like it was so fast.
Yeah.
But really nice, especially like those shapes. Like you didn't even touch that much, like those huge shapes on the kind of bottom left of like the dress coming down. They just work so well as like these simplified shapes. It's so cool. What about talking about very cool? You have something behind you on the chair. Do you wanna talk like?
I was like,
we have two things behind you that are cool, but like the one on the left, the one on the chair.
This.
Can you tell us a little? What is that?
This is very cool. This is my cyber swine scarf that I love so much because. Is this upside down?
It is upside down, I think.
Because I love the color pink and I love my friend Louis who made this.
I love my friend Louis too.
And I also have the Cyber Swine hat.
Guys, Cyber Swine, look it up. This is not a paid sponsorship. He's just a friend, but he makes amazing stuff. And
it's
Cyber
not paid. If
Swine's
anyone's paid is me for all the stuff that I bought from there. So
yeah, you paid, yeah.
Yeah, I have everything.
Yeah, nice. But that's it. That's amazing. I do this this new thing. I guess I started with Jack. I think I started with Jack. at the end of every single episode where I ask you guys to give like a quick tip that you could share at the very end, something that you like to use a lot.
All right. Just off the top of my head, yeah, I think what I really like doing, I think I even have it in this file.
Whoa.
This is another drawing that I was considering doing, but anyway, I think what I really like doing is adding a brightness contrast adjustment layer at the top of everything. I learned it on one of my jobs. Like I was doing location design and then I was looking at like my supervisor files and he would just use this layer on top of everything. And when I started using it, I don't know, I just feel it's so good because it just like makes everything brighter, makes everything like just pop more. Like I feel like sometimes when we're painting, we tend to like maybe make everything, if you're working with like a color palette and everything's very subdued, maybe everything just turned out like more desaturated than you wanted. And I think like this is a nice way at the end to just like bring a bit of pop into everything. So you can like increase the contrast and increase the brightness.
Oh, we can't see the window of the because of the different screen, but like it is a brightness and contrast and always basically using the little bars to push the contrast in the image. Can you show like with and without, like what it looks like?
Yes, I think it's the original, and then it's just like it's so subtle, but then like suddenly like all the windows just like look way more shiny.
Yeah.
So and then it makes like the darkness in the back like yeah, just because it has two sliders like brightness and contrast. So I usually just like move them up a bit. I guess it like depends on the image, but I just feel like sometimes if at the end I'm a bit like unsure or I'm like, oh, it looks good, but like what if I had a bit more oomph? I just like make it brighter and add the contrast, and I feel like that always just makes it like, I mean, I really like brightly colored stuff. Like all my work is like super colorful, and yeah, I feel like that adding that at the end just like brings out all the highlights, makes everything super shiny, which like I said I really liked. So I think that's something nice at the end to just see if you can just like push it even more and just make it like pop.
Yeah, we'll call it the oomph layer. After you said that, I'm like, okay, that's the name of this layer. It's the oomph layer.
Oomph layer.
The oomph pass. Great. Thank you so much for all of this. Thank you so much for being so flexible with like finding the time for this week and for the amazing like examples that you gave us, like for sharing the process of this really nice illustration.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, it's been really fun and really easy to talk actually. So
look at the camera, tell us what's going on, in your life at the moment. How can people find you online? What kind of projects are you working on at the moment? Like personal projects. It doesn't need to be like your professional work, like things that you're looking forward to.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Ola Kolendo. So it's just my name and surname. Yeah, my website's Ola Kolendo, my Instagram's Ola Kolendo, so everyone can find me there. And at the moment, I'm just doing some freelance. I've had the whole summer off, which has been really cool. I've gone on loads of travels, and I feel like all of them have really inspired me to do loads of stuff, like to do with like all my holidays and stuff. I think the last illustration on my Instagram is like these two girls that I saw on the beach in Italy, and now I'm working on another illustration that's like inspired by visiting my friend in Poland. So that's kind of what I'm doing in my like personal work. And as you know, our friend Barnaby recently made a short film, and we've all just been talking about that a lot. And it might be that I have another month off before I start my new job at the end of October. So maybe I can plan a little 30-second short film or something.
Oh, that would be so cool. It's gonna be, is that gonna be your first time directing then? Like a short film?
Yeah, what is that called? My debut.
Your debut, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Maybe. I think I'd really like to try, even if not a short film, maybe like a style frame of some animation. I think we're going to autumn, and like talking with Barnaby and a few of my other friends that have been doing that kind of stuff, or maybe they're more directors or more writers than I am. I think I'm if I'm gonna have another month off, I think I want to challenge myself to do a little something like that. So yeah, 1st of October will be my planning day, and we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. Very exciting. Guys, so like by the time this comes out, might be nothing. But if you are watching a Layer Explorer from the future and you are coming back to this Layer Explorer, you now can go and check Ola's social media, and you might find a short film.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
I think that would be pretty cool. I think that would be pretty cool. And like now Ola has manifested it into Layer Explorer, so it's gonna have to happen.
Yeah, this has been really cool, really inspiring. Glad that this has made me make my short film, viewers from the future.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, guys. That's it. Another episode of Layer Explorer. I will see you guys next week. I post every episode. I post an episode every Sunday, so I'll see you guys next Sunday. Mwah. Take care.